It's the thing they wanna kill. Threadfin Shad, Threadfin Shad, 5-inch make it hood. Threadfin Shad, Threadfin Shad, creep just like it should.
We are going for a natural Threadfin Shad 5-inch swim bait. And so to do that, if you look at the comparison picture that I'll tag here, there's a lot of like gold scaling, and so we're doing a skin pour approach where I pour this clear plastic with gold flake in it. It's like a really fine mica powder type flake, but not too fine though. We want it to show up. And we're skin pouring each half of the mold before moving on to our next step, which will be applying the shad dot. And then skin pouring means we put the gold thin layer in there and let the rest drain out, as you can see. So it's just going to really add some flake to the outside, which will be sweet. And then I'll show you the next step. Alright, and then our next spot is to apply the shad dot. So I'm just going to take one of my little metal rods here, dip it inside the black, and then put a dot right where I want it. Make sure it shows up well, kind of gauge the transparency of the dot, make sure that you feel like you have a good amount, good size on there. So we'll go through and hit all of them with that, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so you can see the nice little shad dot there with the gold, very clear, reflective skin pour layer. So that skin pour layer is going to be on the outside of that shad dot too, which will kind of give it some depth, which should be pretty cool. And that dot has a little bit of raised aspect to it. I'm curious what that's going to look like, if it's going to add additional depth too. Pretty cool. Alright, so we're ready for our next layer of the pour. You can see that we got the molds put together. It looks like a mess on top. Don't try to clean that off. Otherwise you'll end up separating the plastic from the mold and ruining your pour. So the next layer, I'm just doing a tiny bit of white, because in the reference picture you'll see that there's just the tiniest bit of white, but then also kind of almost like a holographic blue. So I am going to be using a blue interference powder, which I think is going to be absolutely perfect. I think it could use just a little bit more. Alright. Just I don't know how well you can see that. I'll see if I can put this up in the camera here. You can see it's got that nice little interference blue that flashes only when the light hits it right, and then just a really thin white layer to it. So we'll get this put in the vacuum chamber. That will clear it up quite a bit, and then we will pour that one as our next pour. And this will go up to the lateral line, so it'll really just cover the belly portion for the most part. So, Alright, so we got our plastic vacuum chamber. Now we're just going to pour that next layer, again just going to the lateral line, so not too far. Okay, so we're ready to pour that lateral line. I did end up adding just a touch of interference powder to it. You can barely even see it, but I think that'll just add to that vibe with the interference powder. So we're gonna give that a shot. So this layer, we're just doing a really thin layer, like just enough to cover that last layer, because again, it's just meant to be a lateral line. And slosh it back and forth. If I can do that without burning myself. Alright, so we'll finish the rest of them and then show you the next step. Alright, and then the last color that I'm going to use that I think is going to work perfect for this is made by Lureworks. It's called Cutthroat Trout Dye, and it has a little bit of a goldish highlight to it, but it mostly looks green, almost green pumpkin, but with a tiny bit of gold highlight to it too. So compared to that picture, I think this is going to work perfect. So. Alright, and then I did add some interference powder to this one as well, just to again match that same blue highlight type vibe. I don't even know how much the interference powder is going to show up because it's not on the exterior of the bait because we did that capsule pour, but I'm curious what it's going to do, so we'll give it a shot. Okay, so I finished pouring those. They're ready to set up, but before turning off the hot plate so that the molds can be handled and everything, I always like to keep them hot for 5 minutes or so, just to make sure that the plastics from the different layers bond really, really well. You don't want to overheat it, otherwise colors will sink through the plastic from the top down, depending on what's in there, especially if there's glitter. Then we didn't put any glitter in this, but the mica powder can still do that too. It's a lot finer, a lot less likely to occur, but just let them sit for like 5 minutes. I keep this pancake cooker thing at about 300 degrees, and that seems to be perfect. Go over 300 and you start to see the colors sink into the lower layers, but if you go under 275, then the layers don't always laminate the way that they should. So 275 to 300 is perfect. All right, and while we're waiting for that to demold, look at these swim baits I just made. They turned out amazing. This one is a spawning rainbow, obviously. Kind of got the brighter pink colors. Actually holographic or color shift. It shifts from pink to blue, which is perfect for a rainbow trout. Little spots all over it. And then this one is bleeding, a holographic bleeding shad. It looks freaking awesome too. Those holographic scales are heat pressed on, which they just look amazing when they come out. And then this last one is just a black and silver. A lot of people here, especially here in Utah, use this to imitate a kokanee, because there's lake trout in a lot of areas near us that the kokanee absolutely, it's a #1 item on the diet for large lake trout here. So that looks awesome, cool. Getting these ready to ship out, so there you go. All right, these are ready to demold now. So the quickest and easiest way to do this is I just take my little spatula. I usually use it for cleaning off the countertops. Oh, it's still just a touch warm. And you just scrape off the top, trying to kind of pinch the sharp edge between the edges. A lot of people just use their finger and just kind of pinch it against the edge, but I like the spatula. I think it's a lot faster and easier that way. And as you can see, it cleans them up nice. I mean, there's the surface all nice and clean, so we'll just hit all of these real quick. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good match to what we were going for. Got the little bit of blue highlight that comes out. Oh man, those are perfect. Yeah, that is pretty sick. Okay, we'll go get eyes on them and then take them outside and see how they look in the sun. But I think that's pretty dang close if you ask me. Check that out. Man, that blue really comes out when the light hits it. Probably went a little bit too overboard with the interference powder, but man, it looks good. I'd probably do a little bit darker, like green pumpkinish kind of mica powder on the top color, just because I feel like it came out a little bit light. It's supposed to have a little bit more green in it, but nonetheless, man, that looks pretty darn close. Just so you can see the capsuled ones a little bit better again. I was moving it around a lot in the first video, but you can see that first thin layer has a lot of that gold flake, which when it, or that gold mica powder, but when it hits the light, it kind of overcomes the colors below it, which is cool. That's kind of the purpose of the capsule color. But I really think mixing it in might be the better effect. I still think it looks pretty cool when it's mixed in. It still has the same effect to me. But I don't know, we'll see. See what you think when we compare round 1 to round 2. Okay, so attempt number 2. I like the first run, but I realized what color is missing from that top. It's not pumpkin, it's already got too much mustard kind of color in it. If you look at the original, it is kind of a green emerald, which is perfect because I have color made by, what do you call it? Denim Plastics. It's called Emerald City, that would match that perfectly. It's just kind of a green highlight type, it's like a watermelon green, but with just a really sparkly kind of look to it. So it'll be the absolute perfect color for the top. I'm also going to try this run without doing the skin pour or the capsule pour, just because if I can do it with one less step by mixing that gold into the blue-white interference layer and things like that, then it might be easier and produce the same effect anyway. So we're going to try that and kind of compare and contrast the two. Alright, so first step is dotting our shads since we're not doing the skin pour. So I got the black again just so I can add the shad dot. This one, it won't have to be quite as thick, or because it's going to be on the exterior, you're not having to get it to show through another layer of plastic or anything. So I don't know why this is such an easy step, yet it is my least favorite. Probably because my hands are so unsteady. It is very difficult to get the dot exactly where I want it. So, but it is what it is. I do it because it's an important step, obviously. Can't have a shad bait without a shad dot on it. That would just be ridiculous. All right, you guys, so now what I'm doing is, because that bottom layer, there's no longer a capsule with the gold around it. The gold flake is kind of mixed in with the plastic. So what I'm doing is, I don't want the blue to overpower that gold, because if you look at the original, the gold was actually more dominant than the blue in most lights. So I don't want that white and blue to overmask that gold, so I'm putting in a little bit more gold. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting and everything, or in this position with the camera. Pretty difficult to capture it right on top of the cup, but you can definitely still see a lot of gold and a lot of blue. I don't think we're going to lose the effect that I wanted by skipping that step of capsulating. So I think this was a total win. But okay, I'm really hoping this will show up a little bit better, but it is perfect. It's white in some lights, the gold hits in other lights, and then the blue hits in other lights. It's all three colors in one. And again, once it's out in the sunlight, the blue highlights will show up a lot more like it did before, but this is going to be beautiful. Okay, we're to temp, so we're going to try to zoom in and pour this one. Again, the position on that last one looked pretty good. I'm going to the top edge of that, oh, whoops. Oh wow, that was a messy pour. Going to the top edge of that hook slot divider, and that seems to be about the perfect spot for the lateral line to go. All right, we'll do the rest and then move on to the next step. Okay, same concept on the next layer, only it's black with the gold and the blue showing through depending on the light. So I think the blue, I got a little bit too much blue in it, but that's okay. I think it's actually going to turn out pretty sweet because it's a lateral line. So if too much blue comes out, no big deal. But added some of that Emerald City, and it gave me that almost watermelon kind of sparkle to it that I really think it needed. So I'm gonna pour that last layer. Some background onto this little activity is the picture that I sent, or that I included in this, was sent to me by my brother who went to Lake Powell in southern Utah, where there's a lot of threadfin shad. There's gizzard shad as well, but everything that I've been able to find explains that the threadfin shad is what everything feeds on down there. Mostly stripers. There's also largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, crappie, but they've looked into the stomachs of these striper, and they found threadfin shad like crazy. They feed on them a lot, but they have not found gizzard shad. So interestingly enough, they don't seem to like gizzard shad as much. So I've always been wanting to duplicate a threadfin shad. When my brother went down there, he hooked one, and so I told them to send me a picture of it so that I could try to duplicate it, and that's why we're doing what we're doing here today. So, which threadfin shad, it totally makes sense because a lot of bait makers, they always try to produce threadfin shad. In fact, in my opinion, I think sexy shad is a common color that is meant to replicate threadfin shad, just a more brilliant, bright version of it, of course. But nonetheless, that's what they're going for. I don't think it's meant to look like gizzard shad. Gizzard shad don't look like sexy shad to me. But threadfin, they do. They're a little bit brighter, a little bit more of those colors, those blues and stuff that match kind of the threadfin shad over gizzard shad. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to try these down there at Lake Powell a little bit. And then we'll put eyes in and we'll show you the finished product and we'll compare round 1 to round 2. And you can tell me what you think. If you like round 1 better, think it's a better match, and the capsule is worth it, drop a note in the comments. If you think that it's not worth it and these look better in round 2, let me know. Okay, so here is run 2 versus run number 1. Still get a lot of that gold sparkle that comes out. The blue is a lot more subtle, except for in the black lateral line layer. It's way too bright. Not happy with that. I wish I could go back and change that. And then this is compared to the first run. You can see a lot more mustard kind of color. If I could go back and do it again, I'd do somewhere in the middle, somewhere between that kind of emerald green look on the top and that mustard color, and I think that would be the absolute perfect match I want. So third run will be somewhere in the middle. But anyway, we're gonna stop for tonight. So hope you enjoyed. If you like these, check them out on my website at www.getsomeCustomBaits.com. Thanks. All right, and then just so you can see them out in the direct sunlight, kind of see if I can capture this. Again, the blue is still very dominant. I almost missed some of that in these second runs. Like, you can still see the blue. Definitely still see it, but not quite as dominant. Again, I wish it was somewhere in the middle of these two. But there's always an opportunity to make it in the middle. Alright, comment which one you like better, or if you're with me and you would prefer it somewhere in the middle.
Let the chase begin. Flip it, cast it, let the lure dance. A fisher's life is a wild romance in the morning mist or the setting sun. The biggest catch is still to come. Get some custom baits, reel it and reel it in. World records waiting where the fun begins. Huge fish jumping, scale shot like gold. Get some custom baits, let the story be told. Rivers whisper secrets, lakes hold dreams. Cast out the line where the sunlight gleams. Every tug, every pull is a shot of adrenaline. The water's alive, let the chase begin. Flip it, cast it, let the lure dance. A fisher's life is a wild romance in the morning mist or the setting sun. The biggest catch is still to come. Get some custom baits, reel it and reel it in. World records waiting where the fun begins. Huge fish jumping, scale shot like gold. Get some custom baits, let the story be told.